The other day I made a video called System of a Down Worst to Best, in which I ranked all of the System of a Down albums, and in it I described the song Kill Rock and Roll from the album Hypnotize as being about killing all of the rock stars, killing all of the celebrities and all the sexy people. And I received a whole bunch of comments explaining to me that the song is actually about guitarist Darren Malakian having once run over his girlfriend's rabbit named Rock and Roll, and it's a song about when he killed Rock and Roll the rabbit. Now, this makes plenty of sense considering the lyrics. This song has very few lyrics, very simple. So I felt like the biggest asshole when I killed your rock and roll. Every time I look in your eyes, every time I'm watching you die, all the thoughts I see in you about how I. And then later in the song, eat all the grass that you want, accidents happen in the dark. That keeps repeating over and over again. This explanation, while it makes sense for most of the lyrics, doesn't make sense for the backing vocals, which sing, first felt like the biggest asshole, and then mow down the sexy people. Mow down the sexy people seems completely incongruous with the idea of this being a song about running over a bunny rabbit. But leaving that aside, what shocked me the most about people stating that this was like the official explanation is that System of a Down has never explained any of their lyrics. In fact, they've been very adamant about the idea that they will not do so and that they don't want to, and that people should seek their own meanings from the lyrics. So it's really surprising to me to hear that Darren would have just explained one of his songs. And if anything, it sounds like some bullshit he would have made up about the song, because System of a Down is also known for troll interviews. Back in the day when they did interviews for instance, one on like MTV's Headbangers Ball or whatever the name of the show was, that they did like interviews with metal people, like they famously had interviews where they were just like talking gibberish at the people, and like they wouldn't take anyone seriously, and especially when they were asked for the meanings of their songs, they would just make up some bullshit or just like completely try to throw you off the question. They were adamant that they would not explain what their songs were about. So I went to go find out what the meaning of the, like, where this came from, what was the source of Darren saying this. And according to Genius, as well as Song Meaning's annotations, both of them credit it to an interview in Metal Hammer magazine. Now, I tried to find this interview. I found an interview with System of a Down and Metal Hammer, but in that interview, none of this was ever brought up. Now, that interview is surprisingly honest. The band is, like, legitimately talking about their music, their songwriting techniques and stuff like that. Like, they're being pretty straightforward, though they do say, even in that interview, that they don't like to think too deeply about their lyrics, that they're not meant to be overanalyzed. Darren talks about how sometimes he's not even really sure what the songs mean. Once they come out of him, he looks back on it and goes, what the fuck did I just write? You know, he's just explaining all this shit. So it, again, seems so unlikely to me that they would just explain away the lyrics to one of their songs. And I couldn't find the actual interview where this comes from. I couldn't find any source for it. This explanation is listed on Wikipedia and on different sites, but they all link back to a website called Song Facts or something like that, which doesn't have a source. It just says the explanation. It doesn't even say what magazine it's from or anything like that. So I haven't been able to find this source at all. But what truly makes me feel like this isn't the real explanation of the lyrics is that it's also extremely incongruous with the different ways that this song is presented in the band's live shows. Now, for those who weren't around at the time, Kill Rock and Roll was one of the songs that the band was debuting when they were touring for the Mesmerize album before Hypnotize even came out. This song was being played during live shows, and it appears on these live recordings, these bootleg live albums that have been put together by fans that were circling around the internet at the time. And before they played this song, Darren would open with a speech, which I will play for you now.
When I was a little boy, I used to talk to God, and I said, "You motherfucker." And he said, "You motherfucker gotta grow up and kill rock and roll." He said, "Kill rock and roll and fuck all the sexy people." So I did.
Now, this speech obviously answers the lyric, mow down the sexy people, and what the hell that's all about. So in this case, kill rock and roll and mowing down the sexy people, or in fact fucking all the sexy people, seems to be the central motif, as opposed to this other bunny stuff going on. There's also intros I've found for live performances on YouTube where Darren, seemingly strung out of his mind, is just screaming about how they're gonna kill all the rock stars and they're gonna kill everyone, they're gonna kill your government, and fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That one's a weird one because he just seems like he's completely blasted on drugs. And that's the thing, System of a Down songs usually can be read multiple ways. Usually they have a more obvious meaning and then a double entendre meaning. They are often written in such a way that that they're obviously meant to be read in more than one way, and this feels like one of those cases. I mean, I don't know if the bunny was actually named Rock and Roll, but it's such a powerful phrase, kill the rock and roll, that like it just seems so unlikely that he was just writing about a bunny. He's obviously also trying to get out the phrase kill rock and roll, which is a very Darren thing to write about because he's always writing these kinds of edgy lyrics, these very Hollywood music themed lyrics. If you listen to Scars on Broadway, half the lyrics are shit like this. And eat all the grass that you want, while that can relate to a bunny in an obvious way, it also obviously sounds like he's talking about smoking weed, doing drugs. Grass is a common euphemism for that. Now, I'll give you that the eat all the grass that you want, accidents happen in the dark line makes the most sense when you think of this as a song about running over a rabbit. I think that explanation may have come out of the fact that no one knows what the fuck those lines mean. And if you're trying to come up with an explanation for those lines, you think, what eats grass? What kind of accidents happen in the dark? It makes sense. But System of a Down has always been known for weird non sequitur lyrics, especially in their off passages in the middle of a song. They will just throw in these fucking totally bizarre phrases. And I mean, this album in particular has a bunch of these interludes where it kind of just changes gears and says some kind of nonsensical shit. And I'm fairly certain that the eat all the grass that you want, accidents happen in the dark line was something that Darren would play even before this song came out. He would just play that without even the rest of the song surrounding it. I think it appears on one of these bootleg lives or something like that. Don't quote me on that one though, maybe I'm just remembering wrong. Now, if Darren really did kill his girlfriend's bunny rabbit, and that's why it's your rock and roll, and why he's seeing it die when he looks in her eyes, that makes plenty of sense. I admit that's a good reading of the song, but you can't ignore the fact that the band has constantly surrounded this song with these messages actually about killing rock stars, actually about killing rock and roll, and the fact that that is just such an obvious thing for Darren to write about. It's exactly what so much of his music is about. He loves apocalyptic themes and anything dealing with Hollywood and rock and roll lifestyle. And eating grass. Drug themes. He's always got drug themes in his lyrics. I just don't think that the line mow down the sexy people would be in this song if not for the fact that there's supposed to be a second meaning. They would not have put that line in a song that's just about running over a fucking bunny rabbit. That line is in there so that we can have this double entendre. Maybe that's just meant to be a trick. Maybe the song is about the bunny and it's all a big troll thing to make it seem like it's about something else, so Darren could pull the wool off of your eyes and say, haha, it's really about me running over a bunny. Or maybe the other way around. Maybe he was trolling with the bunny story and there's actually a deeper meaning that he intended for it. I have no fucking idea. I just know that trying to boil this down to just being a song about running over a bunny ignores too much context about what this band is, what their lyrics are usually like, and what can be read into this song. And that's it. That's all I gotta say. I've said too much already. I don't know why I had to ramble this long about it. It just really fascinated me to see so many people parroting this thing back at me, and seeing it all over the internet. Like, every explanation for the song online is this quote that I can't find a source for, and seems completely unlikely to be something that they said, but whatever. See you next time.